President Trump and German Chancellor Angela Merkel said they had productive meetings on Friday, even as they offered contrasting visions of the United States-European relationship on issues like trade, the European Union and the NATO Defense Compact. Trump told Merkel he supports a strong NATO, but added that her country and other European nations must pay their fair share of the costs of the alliance. Many nations owe vast sums of money from past years, and it is very unfair to the United States, Trump said in a joint news conference with Merkel after the meetings. These nations must pay what they owe. Merkel said Germany is increasing its NATO contributions, seeking to meet the organization's goal of 2% of gross domestic product. She also said there are different assets and facets of contributing to defense security and stressed the importance of NATO missions in Afghanistan and elsewhere. Commenting on Trump meetings that touched on differences over trade and the European Union, Merkel said, "I've always said it's much better to talk to one another and not about one another, and I think our conversation proved this." During a question-and-answer session, Merkel said she and Trump sought to address those areas where we disagreed, and tried to find a compromise which is good for both sides, because we need to be fair with each other. For his part, Trump disputed a German reporter's statement that he is an isolationist when it comes to trade. The president said he believes in both free trade and fair trade, and that current global agreements have led to job losses in the United States. The president has also expressed a preference for one-on-one agreements rather than massive multinational deals like ones involving the European Union. The United States has been treated very unfairly by many countries over the years, Trump said. And that's going to stop. But I'm not an isolationist. The Chancellor arrived at the White House after months of back and forth with the new president, including Trump's claims that Merkel is ruining Germany by letting in too many refugees and that Germany is using the European Union as a vehicle for its own economic ambitions. Merkel, meanwhile, has questioned Trump over his criticism of the EU, NATO, free trade agreements and other multinational agreements. Before leaving for the United States, Merkel said she would be representing Europe as well as Germany in her meeting with Trump. At the news conference with Trump, Merkel said Germany believes in European unity and European integration, and I'm saying it in the United States, also here in Washington in my talks with the president. Trump and aides sounded more conciliatory notes ahead of a summit initially scheduled for Tuesday but postponed due to a snowstorm. The president greeted the Chancellor at the door of the West Wing Friday after her motorcade pulled up, in addition to a bilateral meeting in the Oval Office. Trump and Merkel also hosted a roundtable with business leaders from both countries to discuss what the president called workforce development and vocational training. The Friday summit between the voluble Trump and the more low-key Merkel came amid major strains in the United States-European alliance that has prevailed for decades. While Trump and aides have expressed support for the transatlantic alliance since he took office in January, the president's stark comments during last year's campaign hang over his dealings with Europe, particularly Germany, promoting what he called an America First style of economic nationalism. Trump has often demanded that Germany and other NATO countries contribute more to the military alliance and suggested that the defense alliance is obsolete in the face of the terrorist threat. Trump has also criticized the European Union, saying he had bad experiences with EU officials during his years as a New York-based businessman, and arguing that the union's regulations are an impediment to economic growth in general. He praised Great Britain's vote last year to Brexit the European Union, which he has described as more or less a subsidiary of Germany. "You look at the European Union and it's Germany," Trump told British lawmaker Michael Gove in a January interview for The Times of London. "Basically a vehicle for Germany. That's why I thought the UK was so smart in getting out." During the joint news conference, Merkel said trade agreements with the US have not always been all that popular in Germany either, and the European Union is in the best position to negotiate deals on behalf of all its members. The U.S. and Germany are also at odds over relations with Russia. Trump has taken a more supportive approach, while Merkel has accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of seeking to undermine the Western alliance. In late 2015, Trump expressed irritation when Time magazine named the Merkel its Person of the Year. Trump won the honor in 2016. Merkel has suggested disagreement with Trump policies that include a proposed travel ban being challenged in court from 6 Muslim-majority counties. The German Chancellor said earlier this month that cooperation with the United States should be based on values of democracy, freedom, respect for the rule of law and human dignity, regardless of origin, skin color, religion, gender, sexual orientation or political belief.